Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Corruption, Crime, and Compliance in the podcast. I'm Michael Volkov. Today, we're going to focus on a really important topic that is moving incredibly fast inside organizations: the use of artificial intelligence tools and the urgent need for a strong AI use policy. Companies are adopting AI across every function: legal, compliance, HR, marketing, finance, and in many cases, they're doing it faster than they can manage the risks. That's where an effective AI use policy comes in. But here's the key point. This is not just a document. It's a governance framework that defines how your organization will safely and responsibly use AI. So, AI is fundamentally different from other technologies. It's dynamic, it learns, it produces outputs that can appear authoritative, but they may be inaccurate. They may be biased or even legally problematic. And most importantly, AI risks cut across multiple legal and compliance domains all at once: data privacy, intellectual property, employment law, consumer protection, and cybersecurity. So if your organization is thinking, we'll just treat this like any other IT policy, that approach is going to fail. AI requires cross-functional governance and clear rules of engagement. So you start with the scope and you start with definitions. And that is, define what you mean by AI. If you don't define it, employees will do so. And that's where the problems start. Policy should clearly address: 1, generative AI tools like ChatGPT or similar platforms. 2, embedded AI within enterprise software. 3, machine learning tools used in analytics or decision making. You also need to distinguish between approved tools and unauthorized tools, because right now employees are experimenting and often use public tools in ways that create real risk. So not all AI use is equal. One of the biggest mistakes companies make is applying a one-size-fits-all approach. A best-in-class policy creates risk tiers. Low-risk uses: drafting emails, summarizing documents. Moderate risk: customer communications or marketing content. High risk: employment decisions, financial determinations, healthcare-related use. Each level has to trigger different controls, different in terms of approval requirements, documentation, and oversight. This is exactly where regulators are heading: proportional, risk-based governance. So let's talk about data protection and confidentiality. This is one of the biggest risks: data leakage. Employments are often entering confidential company data, client information, or even regulated personal data, and they're putting it into public AI tools. That's a serious problem. So your AI use policy must clearly prohibit uploading sensitive data into unapproved systems or using tools that lack proper security controls. And this needs to be reinforced with approved platforms, technical controls, and monitoring. Because once data is entered into certain systems, it may be stored, reused, or exposed in ways you cannot control. All right, let's talk about human oversight. A fundamental principle: AI does not replace accountability. Your policy must require human review of AI outputs, clear ownership of decisions, and documentation for high-risk uses. Why? Because AI can produce inaccurate results, biased conclusions, fabricated information, and regulators are not going to accept the AI did it, not me, as a defense. So one of the other areas that we need to address is bias, fairness, and ethics. AI introduces real risks of bias and discrimination, especially in areas like hiring, promotions, lending, customer targeting. Your policy should prohibit discriminatory uses, should require validation for high-risk systems, and align with enforcement priorities from agencies like the Federal Trade Commission and the EEOC. This is where AI governance connects directly to your broader ethics and compliance program. And let's talk about governance and training. Finally, your policy has to be operational. That means a clear approval process, cross-functional oversight, regular training for employees, because without training, policies don't work, and without governance, risks go unmanaged. The bottom line is really simple. Okay, AI is moving faster than most organizations' ability to control it. A best-in-class AI use policy is not just about compliance, it's about protecting your organization while facilitating and promoting innovation. And the key principle to remember is this: use AI to enhance decision making, but never outsource accountability. Again, consider your risks. If your company doesn't have high risk and only has low and medium risk uses, then your policy should address it in that fashion. If you have high risk functions, that's where your controls have to be crafted carefully. There has to be a real set of robust controls that includes training, communication, education, and finally monitoring processes that are going to get you to the right place. These are the elements that go into your AI use policy, and you need to be careful about crafting them to make sure that they address each of the concerns that I spoke about. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on the Corruption, Crime, and Compliance podcast.